Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. We have a very exciting guest today. Noah Wieder is the serial entrepreneur, consultant, author, father, punster, dog lover, and I imagine a lover of water sports too, based on your About.me page, Noah. Has to be swimming with a yacht in the background. That must be something you enjoy.
Well, I have some good friends that have boats, so I go scuba diving a lot. So that's my takeoff and refresh passion is going scuba diving a couple of times a year, and I'm lucky enough to have
Cool.
some friends that allow me to do that. So.
Nice. For those who are joining the podcast, we are digital marketing agents at DGTL-us, and we specialize in helping marketing agencies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your marketing or advertising business to the next level, stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth in the DMs. And with that, we'll get started with some questions for Noah. Tell us what it's like to be a serial entrepreneur and how SearchBug and ATM Depot, that you're wearing the hat of right now, are going. Yeah, you're a man of many hats.
Yeah, aren't we all when we're serial entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I started my companies back in 1999. I was working for a bank and teaching myself HTML with the old Dreamweaver Bible. I took a bunch of internet courses through the Internet Marketing Center, and then I joined Digital Marketing Labs for a while. I ran an agency and just had other clients. And once my own websites took over, I was able to just do that full time, which was the dream. I got into it because I previously ran a company called Extra ATM, which we sold to a big bank in Canada, and they subsequently sold it to E-Trade, and then I left because I didn't want to move. So then I started ATMDepot.com as an online business versus feet on the street, and now we help new entrepreneurs and existing entrepreneurs that want to get into the ATM business with training, the whole back end. We have a whole membership site on our ATM Depot. We build websites for them if they want, so that they can get local presence, so they don't have to do it all themselves, and give them leads, help them get leads, and really work with the local guys or gals or whoever wants to get into the business locally, because really what it's about is, in the ATM business, it's those little boxes you see in bodegas or in tattoo parlors or nail salons, where these days the merchants don't actually want to own them as much. They want to focus on their business. They'd rather have somebody else come in, put a machine in, fill it with cash, maintain it. And we do everything else on the back end. All they have to do is find locations, which we teach how to do. And then we run everything else on the back end. We move the money around for them. We 1099 them, help them pay their merchants, basically
Awesome.
have support, full-time support. So they don't need to worry about the day-to-day online stuff. They want to focus hyper local. They want to become the ATM people in their town, and we help them do that. So we have about 1,700. We call them IADs, independent ATM deployers, and then they'll get a route, and we try to teach them, look, deploy 12 or 24 machines in 2-3 years, whatever, 1 year, whatever you want to do. It's your business. A lot of them start out with a regular job, and then we basically help them. And machines are under $2,500. You charge them $350 if you're doing 100 transactions, which is only 3 a day. They're making $350 a month on one machine on a
Super.
$2,500 investment. Yeah, it's been a great business. I've been doing it for 35 years, and I keep doing it. So that's in a nutshell, that's ATM Depot. And the way we help people is, so we have a full team of people that will help them online. We do, we have blogs, we syndicate our content, and I'm sure you realize that the whole SEO thing is shifting, right? We're going from
Absolutely.
SEO to EO and GEO, and the way those artificial intelligent engines and artificial search engines are working these days, a lot of people are shifting away from regular browser search engines, right? They're going directly to all the different, you got Grok, you got Claude, you got OpenAI. I mean, they're popping up all the time, and people are just using those to search more and more often. And the way that they're getting their information, I'm sure you're aware, is through content, and it's got to be quality content, right? We Both of my businesses now, since I started so early, we've been online. My first website, SearchBug, it was another website, and we merged in 2010. But SearchBug has been online since 1996 as Search It All, and then became SearchBug in 1998. I believe.
Hmm.
And then ATM Depot's been online since 2003. So they're both 25 plus years online, which um, is a lot of longevity and a lot of trust for the search engines and for artificial intelligence to say, look at all the links, look at the age of the domain. And that's the benefit of partnering with, companies like that when you're looking for backlinks. Still, backlinks are still king too, right? You want to, we have a whole outreach department, and we want to make sure that if we find a post or somebody contacts us, and we vet everybody and say, oh yeah, this would be good for our audience, or that would be good for your audience, and then we figure out a way to make it work. And it just involved networking, and so that's why you got to wear so many hats too.
Yeah. For our listeners that may not know the mnemonics, what is AEO and GEO? Would you mind sharing, explaining?
Well, so it just slipped my mind. AEO is artificial engine optimization,
Yeah, there you go.
uh, and GEO is,
Generative, right? Generative.
thank you, yes, generative engine optimizations.
As opposed to search engine optimization.
Exactly.
Cool. And then just to go back to the business, you said it's 2,500 for the machine, the ATM machine, and they
Yeah,
make,
well,
is it
they range in price. I mean, we sell certified pre-owns for as low as $1,900. So if you're just getting into the business, a lot of guys just want a certified pre-owned. Still comes with a warranty, but if people want brand new machines, they can still get them for under 2,500 bucks is the average price. But through the walls or really different, you can go all the way up to 8, 10 grand for and some people build trailers for events, and they're putting two machines in a trailer and spend 20 grand. But the average to get entry point is 2,500 bucks, and the average machine does about 100 to 150 transactions a month. So 3 to 5 people use it a day, and the average fee nowadays is between 3 and 350. But some people also charge a percent. So like you could charge $3 or 1.5%, whatever is greater, depending
Mhm.
upon the venue, depending upon where it is. That's really going to make the determination of what the option or revenue is, the end revenue is. And if they want to share any revenue with the store owner, sometimes they'll give them 50 cents or $1, especially if it's busy. Or if the merchant wants to put the money in the machine and then they don't have to put it in, they can. It's completely up to them, but we teach the whole thing. So there's a million questions. I can't teach the whole thing in 20 minutes. We have 6 hours
No,
of video.
no, I was impressed by, because it sounded, like a good business, for
It's a
somebody.
great business. Yeah,
Basically,
no,
you
it's a
do it all, and they just have to have it installed, and it makes money once once it's there.
yeah. Yeah, we teach them how to install it too if they want. If they want to install it themselves, we recommend, you let us send a professional installer the first time. We train you on site, we'll install it, and then they can videotape it and do it in the future if they want to save that fee
Wow.
of the and then somebody come out and install it. But and they get online reports and low trigger alerts if it gets running out of cash, and they can go. And so really they just need a business bank account. They need we have a few business. It's a very low cost of entry business to get into. You need about 2,500 for the machine and 2,500 for cash. But a lot of people are getting they'll get a 12 to 18 month interest-free credit card to put the machine on to start, and then they'll
Mhm.
use their cash to start, and then they'll save the couple of $100 a month to pay off that machine in the 12 to 18 months. They'll pay off that card in the 12 to 18 months, and that gets them jump started. That's how they start. It's all about
Wow.
finding the right location.
Yeah. How do you find your customers then?
How do we find them? Well, we do both. We have end users. We've been on, we run so many thousands of machines that people just call us now. But for new guys, they're gonna have to get out there and introduce themselves to local merchants. We have walk-in scripts that way, swipe scripts they can use. We have cold calling scripts so that we teach them how to look online for
Awesome.
cash only businesses, for events. We teach the whole thing so that they can get out there. But I always tell people, buy 250 business cards when you first start in the business. And if you still have business cards at the end of a month and a half or 2 months, you're not prospecting enough.
Wow, sounds good. Sounds like a great idea. I imagine you are busy. 2 businesses, running 2 businesses, wearing lots of hats. What's a typical day look like for you?
Man, I am a night owl, and we have a lot of employees overseas now. After the
Okay.
pandemic, people really didn't want to come back to the office, so we have a big office, big empty office now.
Yeah.
There's a few of us here. There's a few of us here. We have developers in 3 countries, and a lot of support and customer support, and our entire marketing team is now overseas. So yeah, we utilize people in three or four different countries. We're in yeah, we're in Latin America, India, and the Philippines. We employ SearchBug employs about 17 people overseas. ATM Depot's got about 6 people overseas, and a few local. But yeah, so my day is because the time zone differences, my day typically starts around 8:30 in the morning, doing email and catching all that up and planning my day. And then I'll take a break around 10:30 and have breakfast, maybe stretch, work out a little bit, and then get into the office between 12 and 1, depending upon if I have errands to run. And I'm usually here until 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
but luckily, everything's e-commerce. We don't have any products on the search side, right? Here, I'll change my hat for that.
There you go.
For SearchBug, it's just all data, right?
Yeah.
So we have 3 different levels of data on the SearchBug side. We have public records, we have premium premium records, and then we have what's called FCRA and GLB compliant data. So companies can actually submit an application to us to get what we call restricted access data
Mhm.
that it's pretty high level. It's all federally regulated. So we actually send a third party to their office to verify they are who they say they are. And only certain types of businesses can get it, right? Attorneys, collection agencies, private investigators,
Sure.
certain companies that take and need social security numbers. We have a very, very good criminal search, but to do
Yes.
that, you have to identify the right person. So not everybody wants to give their social security number, right? On a
Mhm.
web app. Who are you? So a lot of people will give the last 4 digits of their social. So
Yeah.
we've developed a tool where you can enter your name, your first name, last name, and the last 4 social security numbers through a web developer that got validated through us, and
Mhm.
everything's secure and all the security functions, obviously. We have some pretty sophisticated developers. So we don't
Mhm.
give any information away, but we say, yeah, it's a match, and or no, that's not the person. So it's a really good lower end way to validate if somebody's giving you their real digits or not, and if it's that person. And then they could take it a step further. If they're regulated and they do collect socials, like staffing firms, collection agencies that have full socials, then they can get a higher level of service. They can get criminal records. We can even find new phone numbers from old phone numbers. But a lot of what we do is TCPA regulation. The Telephone Communications Protection Act is the #1 class action lawsuit in the US the last 5 years. And it's all the spamming phone calls, all the texting. If on your website, if you have an opt-in where you're allowed to text somebody or email someone, and you have permission. So you said, yes, I opt in, you can text me, right? And you're a company that texts people. And let's say you gave me permission to text you, but you know what? You started getting too many spam calls, or you moved and didn't want to keep your number or whatever. You gave that phone number to your kid or your dad or
Yeah.
whatever, and you got a new number, whatever happened. 30% of phone numbers change so often you wouldn't even believe it. It's not common to have your same cell phone number for years and years. So what happens is if you don't and you still contact, if we still contacted that number and it wasn't you, Sue, then we could face a $1,500 fine per number.
Wow.
So SearchBug is one of 11 licensed caller agents for the FCC's reassigned number system. What happens is anybody that has that permission can contract with us. They signed a letter of authorization, and then they piggyback on our service to hit that database so they don't have to pay these big subscriptions. We at SearchBug, we have a pay per use model. We're not a regular SaaS company where you're paying this monthly or annual subscription. You can actually do one lookup, and everybody's first lookup is free. But the way we tell everybody is every single one of our pages has videos, right? So those videos then go on YouTube, and we have a whole Medium channel.
Yeah.
Getting back to TCPA, we promote that a lot on LinkedIn because there's a lot of companies that don't realize
Hmm.
that we helped a huge corporation about almost, I think it's about 8 7 8 years ago. They were sued for $40 million because they sent out hundreds of thousands of text messages, and the lawyers, all they need is a few people to complain and trace it back to a company instead of a service, and then you're in a lawsuit. And then it took them weeks for the Texas Attorney General to release that, and they needed a third party company to validate those numbers. So they sent it to us, and it
Hmm.
was like 16 million numbers, but they got it released on a Friday night and they needed it for court on Monday morning. To validate 16 million numbers over a weekend is a feat in itself. We broke the file into a million numbers each and lit up 16 servers and multi-processed on 16 servers, a million numbers at a time. And the file was done at Sunday night, and we delivered it to court by 8 a.m.
Wow. Amazing.
We're able, a lot of our services come from customers calling us and saying, hey, we got this problem. Can you help us? And because we're a small, nimble company, we like to solve data problems. That's really
Yeah.
where most of, yeah, that's where really most of the search data services have come from. We access do not call list federally, plus 13 states, plus the TCPA, plus so we have all these services. We just launched in the Zoho marketplace. I don't know if you are familiar with Zoho, but our app just went live last week in Zoho. So if you search phone validation or phone validator,
Hmm.
or search bug is, search in Zoho, you'll find our tool in the Zoho marketplace for Zoho CRM. You can pick how many records you want. We'll manipulate it right inside Zoho. And yeah, sometime in Q1 of 2026, we're gonna launching in the Salesforce marketplace as well.
Excellent. Nice.
So we're doing
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
So are you doing mostly organic strategies for
Yeah, yeah. Everything's organic. I
no paid media? No.
dabble in pain. Really, your organic strategy needs to be really solid because that's evergreen, right? Your organic is going to be evergreen. For those that don't know what evergreen means, is it lives on, but you have to keep it updated. So we go into our blog posts and our videos and comments and refresh them every few months. Or we look at GA4, the Google Analytics 4, and we see what's working and where the pages are. And we just started implementing. I don't know if you've heard of Search Atlas, the Auto
I
Search
have heard
Atlas.
about. Yeah.
So yeah, we used to be a SEMrush and Refs shop, and we switched to Search Atlas. And I gotta say, in this last 8 months that we've been testing it, we're pretty impressed.
Are they paying you?
No, I wish they were. I wish they were. Yeah, they
Nice.
should.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
Good for them.
well, that and my buddy's site, Rank Mastery, they both work really well,
Nice.
just to help you automate stuff, right? Like, he's
Mhm.
implementing AI in a bunch of his stuff now, so he can actually create, like, dozens of websites in minutes,
Mhm.
which is incredible. But it's gotta be good content, and that's the key is he spent 10 years my buddy Dennis that I was telling you earlier about, spent
Yeah.
10 years creating this rank mastery system. So, you know, between that and auto and then real people reading and editing manually, right? You can't if you're going to use AI to create blogs, you have to prompt it well, right? You have to tell
Yes.
it act like a human, and then you have to actually read it and edit it and put it back in your voice. It's
Yes.
great for ideas, it's great for creating content calendars, it's great for a lot of that stuff.
Mhm.
Um,
It's like I like to say if you're gonna use AI, you have to use HI as well, human input.
there you go. Yes, that's great. Yes, you have to use human input. Here it is.
That's
Answer,
soon.
answer.
Oh, yes, I do know On the Public. I've used that.
Okay. Yes, fantastic. Quick little tool to give you really just spark some imagination and spark ideas, and then you can drop all those into any any AI tool. I think I've learned the key with AI tools is to when you first prompt it, I tell it, don't do this right away. Right?
Mhm.
I want you to let me know you understand my prompt and then
Yes.
ask me questions to help me further generate ideas and let's have a discussion about this
Yes.
before you generate any, whatever. If I'm creating
Mhm.
a new guide for our IADs, like I created this entire guide on finding locations. So I did a brain dump. I mean, I type a Google Doc and then I cut and paste. I'll type before I'm even done. It'll be pages of information, but it's random brain dump thoughts. Like when I wrote my first book, I realized I'm talking to people. I'm talking to people on the phone all day. Okay, hold on. My my book for ATM Depot, right? I was talking to people all day on the phone when I was doing the sales, and I realized it's the same 10, 15 questions most of the
Yeah,
time, right? Or it's an iteration of those, and I'm repeating myself dozens of times a day. So
exactly.
I started asking people because my first book came out in 2015. So 3 years before that, I started asking people, "Hey, you mind if I just record this conversation?" And then there was a tool that came out that you could record your voice and it would turn it into speech. And IFTTT had a tool where you
Yes.
could have a phone number. So I would call that number on I would call that phone number on voicemail, leave it on speaker, right, on my desk phone while I was talking to people on my cell phone, and then I put that on speaker and it would record my conversation. Then I get an email transcript of my conversation, right?
So you were
Before all the
doing it
tools,
yeah. It was the
right?
analog version.
The analog version of speech to text,
Nice.
right? So I'm doing all that, and now I've got I don't know how many pages of text, but it's all jumbled.
Mhm.
So now you can dump all that into AI. You can say, "Hey, organize this, create a TOC, a table of contents, right? Create an
Yeah.
append, pull out you can just give it all your instructions like you're talking to a person, right?" But back then, I hired a woman on Upwork from Kenya for I don't even know how much it was. It was like I think it was like 50 cents per minute of audio or something,
Mhm.
and she took all of the transcripts. Sorry, that was before I edited. That was my first run, right? I recorded everything on the voicemail and then she transcribed it. Then I saw if, and then I started doing it the other way. And so now I had all this material and I went on Upwork to find somebody that was really good at putting Amazon Kindle books together, and I hired them to take all this content, organize it, and then send me a chapter at a time, and I would read it, read through it, reorganize it. So that's why it took another year and a half to produce the book.
Yeah.
I mean, Now you could do that in weeks.
I know, but we still
I think
need the humans for the soul piece, right? We still need the humans.
no, absolutely. You need to inject your humor in there, or you need to
Yeah.
really be good at prompting. And
Yes.
it's never going to be just like you, but it'll give you a really good base foundation. Like I found publishing. So what I did is anytime I published something that I thought was really good, I would rip out maybe the first chapter, or I would create a summary on my own, and I would
Mhm.
upload it to academia.u and
Mhm.
submit it as an academic paper, right? So
Yeah.
my first book created a PDF, submitted the academic paper, and I mean, the number of reads are incredible. And then people contacted me through academia. They wanted to know where they could get the book, and it turned it turned into a lead magnet or a tripwire, right? So then I realized, oh, then we needed okay. So let's take the book and let's just create like Let's create a PDF, a quick start thing. Like, how do I get into this business for people? And you get a so you go on ATM Depot, you type in if you fill in our form, you get a free 17-page PDF, right?
Yeah.
Well, how did I know 17 pages was the magic number back then, right? I took all these courses on digital marketer on, who do you follow? Neil Patel is great. He's awesome. There's a whole bunch of really good people, but and
Mhm.
I went to traffic and conversions conference when it was here in San Diego. I mean, for years and I mean, years,
Yeah, I see.
years,
I see all of us. Yeah. There you go.
right? Years and years. So and there was a couple of conferences where they talk about, really manipulating or figuring out and testing your tripwire, right?
Mhm.
Which is now our PDF. So they say an odd number works better, right? So I took out all this information and it's single spaced and it's, whatever font. So, okay, it's 7 pages. We upload it and it wasn't doing that great. And I said, well, somebody said, well, maybe it's too hard to read. Maybe we should space it out. And I said, all right, why don't we make it from 9 pages? Somebody said, make it like 15 pages or 13 pages, do another odd number.
Mhm.
So we kept playing with it and we determined that 17 pages was enough of a value, but not too much to read. So it's just bigger font and wider space. So it's easier to read, right? You can't have 17 pages of small space. It's just too much information, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be just enough information to be valuable and enough information to see if somebody's really interested. Do I really want to do this? Do I want to pursue this, or do I not want to? Is that what I like doing? Do I like going and talking to merchants? Do I want to, run a vending company without having to deal with inventory? Is basically what it is, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to buy cases of soda at Costco. You don't have to have snacks. You don't have to have your garage filled with all kinds of stuff and figure out what's selling, what's getting stale, throwing stuff away. No, it's your vending machine's 20s. You go to the bank, you get 20s, and there's your vending machine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
and then with search, you're not selling any product. It's just information. And that was the number one thing when I took a course, when I was doing the Dreamweaver Bible and teaching myself HTML in the late 90s. I had a buddy that became a private eye and they said, hey, I'm doing all these practice websites. What if I just take some of the services you do and build a website, send you the order, and I'll send you the orders, you fulfill them, and I'll figure out all the internet stuff. And yeah, so I launched my first website. It was called iInfoSearch back in 2000. We finally launched, and
Mm.
I remember in October of 2000, we did like $300. November, we did like 600. December, we did almost 1,000. And then I learned how to get into DMOZ, Yahoo directories, all those. And then
Yeah.
January, we got into all those and we exploded. We started doing 10,000 plus online back
Nice.
then,
Nice.
and then the same thing, I did the same thing with the ATM company, right? But instead of data, it's teaching people.
Yeah.
And those directories are gone, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
we used to try to find, dead links in Wikipedia and fix the dead links and, find author, all that's changed. all that's
Yeah.
so different. It's
But your
just
business
it's
is you've still got these 2 businesses that have had some longevity, right? I mean,
gotta
they've
change with the times,
yeah,
right? As a serial entrepreneur, I learned 2 things very quickly. You need to change. You can't be afraid to who moved my cheese, right?
yeah,
You
exactly.
can't be afraid to change, and
Yeah,
you can't be afraid of technology, and the 3rd thing is you can't be afraid to delegate,
right.
right? You automate,
Excellent.
delegate, and change.
Yes, all of those.
All the and there's
Wow.
so many like you were talking, how so many great tools for this now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. You're seeing a lot of changes and you're trying to keep up with them. How has AI impacted your business or growth strategy, would you say?
Well, that's getting back to what I was talking about is being able to change and adopt to technology. Like anybody that's not using it,
Yeah,
I hammer that into all my employees.
yeah.
You've got I buy I buy courses for them.
Mhm.
Really, I send links to stuff at crazy hours of the night. I feel like everybody says you work so many hours, but really I don't sometimes feel like I'm working because I'm online. I've been doing computers since 6th grade. I mean, my parents were, my schools back then, even in Long Island, we had mainframes, and I was just into it, like, oh, look what you could do. And now it's like I'm like a kid in a candy store sometimes. But my brain
Yeah.
just works. I have 4 notebooks next to my bed because I don't want to wake up and and open my tablet or my phone to take a note. So
Mhm.
I keep a notebook, and sometimes my brain won't stop, and I have to write it down, or I'll just keep replaying it. What do I have to do? What do I
Yeah.
have to do in the morning? Yeah, so, like, I'll think of AI prompts now. It's just you know?
That's great.
So, there's some great AI courses out there. I would tell everybody, just take an AI course, learn how to prompt, ask questions, pretend you're talking to a therapist,
Yeah,
right? Like, when you're, just be curious, inquisitive, don't always tell it what you want. Let it ask you what you think,
yeah,
ask I mean, it's yeah, so AI, there's so many people doing so many things with AI, and it's all over the place.
sure. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like that the AI is working well for you right now, right? What would
Yeah.
you say is not working well or is frustrating?
Well, we're probably only scratching the surface. Before I started my ATM business, uh, I was a buyer for Price Club back in the 80s, an assistant buyer. And then a buddy of mine from college asked me, he said, "Hey, do you want to run a beverage distributorship?" And so we actually own Snapple West Coast. And
Wow.
we worked 20 hours a day for a year. And we didn't even have a juice plant out here. We were way before our times. So after that, I did a few things that I really learned in business, like, all right, you may not succeed, but just apply yourself, apply yourself, and don't quit too soon.
Mhm.
Just keep going. If you can do it, just do it, even if it's on the side. And with AI, it's all about just learning a little bit. I took a part-time job teaching adult ed. I taught Microsoft Word and Excel in
Mm.
Coleman College in the early
Wow.
90s, just as a side gig. And I realized I'm not even teaching 5% of these programs to these people,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
Like, I think that's like the way AI is right now. If you can learn
Mhm.
5%
Exactly.
or implement 5% of what AI can do in your business, you'll be that far ahead of your competition. And I always tell my employees that. I said, look, if we're not doing this and our competitors are doing this, they're going to beat us, right?
Yeah.
You're, and look, it drives me crazy. I still see photos missing alt tags, right? I still see duplicate meta tags. Like, I'm like, what are you doing?
I know. I mean, are you looking to grow? Where do you wanna be in 6 to 12 months? I feel like
I know.
everybody's looking to grow. Right, you know? Everybody wants more customers.
Yeah, everybody wants more customers, right? I mean, in this day and age, you work twice as hard to make half as much, right? I mean, the, you know, just with the way things are in the world, like, even though costs increase, wages increase, insurance is increasing, everything's increasing, but we try not to increase our costs until we're squeezed. Like, and we're like, all right, well, we have to increase our costs. Everything's going up, so we really try not to increase our prices, so to stay really, really competitive and be able to
Mm,
move and keep overhead low. That's the reason why we use people in other countries, right? We
yeah,
couldn't do half the things, and there's just so many good people everywhere. And unfortunately, there's not as many people that want to do what we need them to do here in the US. And there's so many
yeah,
people outside the US. It's, so, as far as the AI is concerned, you just do whatever you can. Even ask AI, right? Like, hey, how can you help me in my business? Here's our business problems. Here's what we
yes,
want to do. Here's what we still do manually. What can you
yeah,
help me with?
yes, exactly. How can you help me future proof? Yeah,
Yeah. Like, especially with all the social media. Like,
yeah.
my God, you learn to prompt that right. Our social media calendar is done a month in advance now, but I still go in and manually edit.
It's the HI. It's important.
Yes, yes, yeah. You can't lose that. So yeah, all these people say it's going to put a million people out of work, but I think those people just need to adapt,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, sure, robots are going to serve you food in the future, but there's going to be a need for people to be able to, maybe fix those and fix them, or help program them, or make sure they're doing their job, right? I mean,
I
yeah,
heard that
they're
Burger King is using robots now.
are they? Okay, yeah.
Well, Noah, this was so great. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your life and your work and your enthusiasm for these new tools. This is
I'm
so
sorry, I'm not
amazing.
so passionate about it. I wish I was a little more passionate.
Yeah, turn up that passion volume, will you?
Yeah, so I get a little, it's just there's so much great stuff happening. Everybody's
Yeah,
the world, there's so much complaining online and there's so much divisiveness, but what we don't stop to think about is how great things are here, really, still.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, my sister runs an organization called UTouch, which is Uganda Technical Outreach. She's lived in Uganda every summer for the past decade or more, and she teaches empowerment to the people in Uganda. She brings the internet there, so she ships donated containers of computers, and she gets buildings donated, and then she gets grants to bring the internet and power to these buildings. She's built I don't know, 6 or 8 buildings in all different parts of Uganda. The stories and the pictures that you see that she says, I mean, these kids are, 5 years old. Your job is to go get water for the village, if
Mhm.
for that family. There's a group of 5 or 6 5-year-olds walking 2 miles to get water and bring it back, and they're picking their own fruits and there's no grocery store, and
Yeah.
there's one building now in that village with internet.
Wow.
And they're getting women mentors for these women to try to, and they're so talented. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of entitlement in the US
Yes.
that's driving growth down, or keeping people down.
Yeah.
It's just
Too much comfort. Yeah.
it, it's comfort, and it's also divisiveness. It's like,
Mm.
what, dude, you got it great, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
get out and
Well,
do
gratitude.
something. Be
Yeah.
a be a gratitude, and just be just contribute to humanity, and
Yeah.
I think your life will turn around, you know? I just love the fact that we can employ so many people and help people all over the world. Like, we had one of our guys move to the Philippines, and he's been there, and he got our entire team on SearchBug together in a restaurant. We bust everybody in, we flew everybody in, and the entire team was in one place. And we got on a call. I
Nice.
mean, and they're just so grateful, and the
Yeah.
appreciation versus versus here, sometimes it's just such a night and day. It really opens your eyes to what
Mhm.
can happen when people are grateful and there's gratitude and everybody's
Yeah.
moving towards one common thing is to just help humanity and make everybody's lives a little more comfortable. I mean, I think that's really
Yeah.
the only thing that money does is just makes you more comfortable. So
Yeah. Yeah.